Gang, it's the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls here. Tonight's show sponsor is Coursera. If you're looking to level up your skills or explore a new field, Coursera has you covered. With more than 7,000 courses from top universities and companies, you can learn anything from data science to business, even psychology, at your own pace. Whether you're aiming to advance your career or just learning for fun, Coursera is the place to be. And the best part? Many courses are free to check out, and if you choose to opt for the monthly plan, you've got a 7-day free trial to see if it fits your needs. And for a limited time, you can save 40% off a year's subscription. Follow the link in the show description to start your new education today.
Welcome to Squatch-D where the truth is first before all else. Join your hosts, veteran investigator, TV personality, and author Steve Kulls, and from the Kentucky Bigfoot Research Project and the Kentucky Fried Fixes channel, Chris Bennett. Sit back and prepare to take yourself on a journey with the longest-running Bigfoot podcast, Squatch-D. Here are your hosts, Steve and Chris.
And good evening, cyberspace. Welcome to Squatch-D for today's date, 11/22/2024. Marking what now? The 70th, 60th, 70th, 60th, 61st anniversary of the JFK assassination.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So amazing. 60. Yeah, that would be,
Wow.
I think. Yep.
I don't know. I have to do the math too, man. It's
1963. Yep. 61 years ago.
Wow.
Now, an amazing thing is when I was born, you were to go back 61 years, it'd have been 1908.
Yeah. Oh, that was, the assassination of the Archduke or something.
That was 14 that happened. The Archduke Ferdinand of Serbia.
Yeah. Oh, wow,
and his wife. Yes. So welcome one and all. I am your host, your guide, the Squatch Detective Steve Kulls, along with my co-host right down there, World War I historian Chris Bennett.
Oh, no. Far from it.
So yeah, we were talking about our sponsor. Well, I'm actually taking another course on the Constitution. So very interesting stuff.
Oh, but anyway, yeah. I know the preamble because of Schoolhouse Rock. Oh, that's so funny. Yep. That was a good thing too. I brought up Schoolhouse Rock. They should still have that on like TV or something for kids. It used to be on every Saturday morning back when we were limited to cartoons one day a week. But that was a really good thing. Schoolhouse Rock, educational. Sing along and learn. That's pretty cool. I don't know why they do that. Maybe they think it's racist now or something. I don't know.
No, it's patriotic propaganda is what it is, according to whoever.
Oh, stuff that helps kids learn how the government works is propaganda.
Anyway, we have one hell of a show tonight. We're gonna have a little fun tonight, actually.
Yeah.
And of course, we're only on at 10 p.m. So let's do before we do our roll call, let me just say I thank everybody for their patience for the last 12 days. We haven't had a show in 12 days. And the reason why is, of course, everybody knew I got back into the work field. And I was originally supposed to work second shift. Well, which for them runs about 6 a.m. to 2 p.m., right? I am now on day shift. So that runs about 12 p.m., and I usually get done around 6:30. So it's looking like we are going to have our regular 3-day show week after all. So
I hope everything, works out. We'll see.
Yep.
I know how things are when you get a new job. The schedules tend to shift around a little bit. So,
yeah, well, I was planning on doing a show Wednesday morning until I got into work Wednesday afternoon, and they said, "Oh, by the way, there's an orientation today, so you're going to stick around until 8." Yeah. So that kind of killed the whole thing there. But But nonetheless, here we are. And no, it was all good. I mean, you want to talk about having a great job. It's a nice, easy peasy job. I get paid pretty well for it. No stress at all.
That's good. That's an important thing. Yeah, people working on those jobs where they wake up in the morning and say, "Oh God, it's time. I got to go to work." You know, that's rough, man. I've been there. Okay, if you're in that situation now, I'm with you. I've been there.
Yeah, we all have. We all have. And I remember when I was working for the ambulance, you know, getting ready to go to work, I'd be filled with anxiety because you never know what's going to hit you during the day.
Right.
Which stressful event you're going to have. Or, you know, my shoulder's a little sore today. I hope I don't have it. And then you're worried about, you know, getting somebody that, you know, this is all like cake work. So this is really, really fun. And, yeah. And we also have gotten the new, the first event of the year is next year already. And that's going to be the Pennsylvania Bigfoot Camping Adventure. It's already up and running. So that'll be going on, and I'll give you the full speaker lineup when that's officially announced.
That's put on by Mr. Eric Altman, isn't it?
That is correct. In the lovely Fayette County, Pennsylvania, right there near Jumonville Glen, Fort Necessity, and at Benner's Meadow Campground. Great time. And
I love Pennsylvania. I mean, to me, it's like if you blindfold me and spin me around and drop me in the middle of Pennsylvania, I'd be like, well, this is Kentucky. Looks like Kentucky to me, you know, hills and hollows and trees.
Hang on a second, Chris.
I think they got a few more pine trees than we do, but yeah, I love Pennsylvania. Good stuff.
Okay. The office. Hang on, I got to check the office.
All right. You got to take care of the office assistant. We can't neglect our workforce here, you know. But there's a lot of people in chat tonight. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Oh yeah, he's all right. He was just looking stressed for a second. Now he's just turned around like, "Hey, how you doing?" All right, so let's do our roll call in chat real quick, and we'll get the show going. So first in today was Pete H. Hello, Pete. Walter Kroll. Hello, sir. Relic Hominin catches on the flip side. Danny Weeks. Sharon from Belgium will also be catching us on the flip side.
Welcome.
Karen Fisher, good evening to you. Sandra Piper, hello. Grasshopper, what's going on? Who else? Jen, hello, Jen, and to her office assistant, who is, I'm sure, is nearby.
Yeah.
Ristel, good to see you, Ristel. The Beatron is in the house, and the Susie Monster.
Susie Monster.
David Parker, hello, David Parker, good to see you, sir. Tennessee Cherokee in the house too, and that's all our chatters for tonight. So
okay, good deal.
So there's a few out there that are just lurking. Well, hello to all the lurkers, and of course, hello to all others on the audio platform such as Spotify, iHeartRadio, Sirius XM, etc., etc.
We appreciate you guys listening on the podcast, and remember, sometimes you need to step in, check up the YouTube channel so you can see the video if we're showing. Well, especially if we're showing pictures or something.
Yep. Well, we might be doing an evidence review for this Sunday, so I don't know. We'll see. But anyway, let's. Ron Meldrum in the house as well. Hello, Ron. Good to see you, sir.
Oh yeah. Oh, sorry. The podcast, guys. It's youtube.com/squatchdtv.
Yep.
Tell them to stop by the YouTube channel, but I don't tell them where. Okay, sorry.
That's right. That's all good. They'll figure it out. So anyway, so today we want to talk about what does Bigfoot do during the winter season, or possibly a survival guide for them. Many times one of the arguments a lot of times is, people, the skeptics will argue, well, how can a Bigfoot last in frigid temperatures and zeros and sub-zeros and all that wonderful stuff? Well, we already talked to Dr. Meldrum at the beginning of the year about why they may not get frostbite, because they have extra thick padding on their feet per se, perhaps their hands as well. And that prevents that from doing the nerve damage, which causes frostbite. So that is one. Angel Nolan, I think, just snuck in too. Hello, Angel. Um,
Yeah, that could be designed. Their bodies could be designed
right,
for it.
right.
They've been living in the
Right.
outdoors all their life, so they're going to be
right.
a
So,
contact.
and I know a lot of people talk about hibernation. Maybe they hibernate like a bear. Well, bears have a very special metabolism to do that, and I find it really unlikely that they may. I mean, they might do that, but how would you explain saying Bigfoot 20? I doubt that is a genetic adaptation for them. I just don't think that they would have that genetic adaptation. But here are some really, really good ideas as to why. And first up is they build or use shelters. Bigfoot might construct or find natural shelters such as caves, hollow trees, or dens to protect itself from harsh weather. These shelters could be insulated with leaves, moss, or branches for warmth. And, we have a lot of different opinions on, summer homes, forest beds, nests, et cetera, et cetera. Well, nests won't necessarily work too well in the wintertime up here in the great Northeast.
Right.
So maybe they do plop in caves for that period of time.
That's one of my personal beliefs. I think they do use them as shelter. I don't know. I don't think they live there like 24/7, 365. Okay.
Right.
But I think maybe during harsh weather conditions, I believe they use them for shelter.
Yep. They may. They just might. And again, I'm very skeptical a lot of time on nests and on tree breaks and tree bends and all that stuff. And somebody posed a very interesting question to me the other night. Last Tuesday, I happened to be on the Small Town Monsters podcast.
Right.
They asked me to come on because they had just released the Apple, on the trail of the Appalachian Bigfoot, and they talked about Bigfoot in the Adirondacks.
Yeah. And
so if anybody hasn't caught that, make sure you go over to Small Town Monsters. I have a pretty big role in that one, so it's really cool. And great audience, another great audience, great questions too. And one of the questions originally asked to me, I completely forgot because I started bullshitting. But I there was a question asked me, and I was ready to answer it, but I wanted to predicate. But we'll get back to that. But somebody. Oh yeah, now I know. Somebody asked me if they may post sentinels. Sentinels, big word. How about a guard? We can, instead of calling it a sentinel, how about just calling it a guard? Will they post up to keep an eye on the rest of the group? And I won't use the word clan. Clan is reserved for human beings.
Yeah.
Right? People. They're a troop, just like a troop of gorillas, just like a troop of chimpanzees, just like a troop of orangutans. They're troops. So, trying to stick with the proper terminology here.
Yeah, man.
But do they, and I do believe they may post somebody up to keep an eye on family groups. Why not? There was a video that had come out many years ago that showed a troop of chimpanzees crossing the road. And you see this one big chimp come out, and he stands at the edge of the road, and you know the one I'm talking about.
Yeah.
And they all go past him and cross the road,
right.
And he doesn't leave until the last one walks. And then he walks to the other side of the road, looks both ways, and then goes into the woods to bring up the rear of the troop.
He's like the chimpanzee crossing guard. Yeah,
right.
That's pretty good.
Right. So if something that is 98.6% of our DNA does that, a Bigfoot somewhere in that range wouldn't be surprising to me. And then again, look how a silverback gorilla guards over its troop. Right. You bring the family units in there, and there's other males too that'll just act submissive, but he'll come out there and he'll check everything and everybody out, right. Gorilla or non-gorilla.
Yeah, I've seen some of those videos of the people doing the gorilla tourism, which they offer.
Yeah.
and they're like, there's this silverback walking in there among them and checking them out, and the guide is saying, don't move, and I'm like, yeah, okay, don't worry.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would be scary.
Okay, Jay Carey, catch us in replay, brother. No big thing.
Yeah, man.
And Helton, welcome, Helton, aka Faster Man, in the house as well.
But yeah, that's some of those things. The activities the chimpanzees do, like the road crossing deal. Yep. It makes you think. It really does.
So that was really a great question thrown at me. So it makes a lot of sense that they could post up one of their troop close by the cave entrance, and if something starts to approach, they can, get everybody out.
Yeah,
I'm not talking. I whistled, and the office assistant goes, "What do you want?"
Well, the cave environment would be really good for them in the summertime as well as the wintertime, because we're talking we got a average temperature of 54 degrees inside caves, which is for our friends that don't use the Fahrenheit scale, it would be about 12 degrees Celsius. And that is maybe a little cool for humans, but if you've already got a natural fur coat on, that would be very nice in the summertime. And it would be very nice in the wintertime too. It would definitely make it warm enough in the winter where you wouldn't require fire to keep from freezing to death.
Well, Bigfoot being a primate would not necessarily have fur, but they would have hair, but they could have a very thick coat of hair.
Yeah.
And,
right. The hair is going to help keep them warm.
The other thing too is they may change diet.
Yeah.
During the wintertime, Bigfoot might shift its diet to include more readily available food sources, such as evergreen plants, bark, roots, or carrion. You can also prey on animals like deer or scavenger remains left by predators. I think they do that all year round, but I think especially in the wintertime, they will go to those evergreen plants and pine leaves and
I think so.
Bark and roots and anything they can get their hands on just to keep them nourished.
Yeah.
A lot of times, even in the fall, they seem kind of lanky a bit, at least in New York.
Right.
So that being said, I'm going to try this a little bit. I never raised that mic high enough. And,
well, the audio sounds good,
Yeah. Well, yeah, and that's
their diet is got to be changed in the winter months because
now again, I don't think David heard us, but they don't hibernate. Sasquatch do not hibernate like bears. Bears go into this deep transic sleep, and their metabolism slows because that's the way they're built. Primates, with their large need for food for their brains, cannot hibernate like that. So,
there might be, they may do like primitive man did. Now, I'm just comparing the behaviors to primitive man. They may go in caves, especially during the cold winter months. And this is a theory. And they may tend to stay in those caves for several days at a time.
Sure.
And even to this day, of course, I know everybody, I can't be the only one. When it gets really cold outside and miserable, you just want to you get sleepy. You just want to kind of lay around and not really, deal with going outside. I think it's built into our DNA to reserve our calories for that type of weather.
Well, exactly. We have fat stores, and that's what you do is you bulk up a little bit. Maybe they eat a little bit more in the fall, knowing that, when they see the leaves start falling, it's a sign to them, go up, we better eat some more because that wet stuff and cold stuff will be coming soon too. And Ron Meldrum makes a great point too, which we've said for a long time. A 3/4 ton moose finds plenty of food and shelter to get through the winters in the mountains here. So I see no reason why, a Sasquatch type creature would. And I agree 100%. Yeah. In fact, that was an argument of biologists for years. Oh, there's not enough food in the woods, especially during the winter for Bigfoot to exist. Yet a black bear needs 15,000
Right.
calories a day for 3 months prior to hibernation.
Yeah.
And like Ron says, a 3/4 ton moose finds plenty of food, leaves, whatever throughout the course of the winter time to survive anyway.
Well, you know, and you'd be surprised how much food.
Oh, gotcha, David. Gotcha. It's when the snakes hibernate. Yeah. And that's a good point, too. There's things like raiding snake dens when snakes are hibernating during the winter. And there's other animals. Yep. Pardon me.
I wouldn't want to live on snakes, no. If we had to live on snakes, man, I certainly wouldn't be.
Tastes like chicken. Tastes like chicken.
Yes. But I would probably lose a lot of weight.
I don't think so. The human propensity for eating stuff, even that is repulsive to survive.
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of the Argentinian? Uruguayan rugby team that crash landed in the Andes just before Chile.
Yeah.
And there were 42 passengers and crew on board. 28 survived, and by the end of it, only 13 were left, or 14 were left. They had another 14 or 15 die over that period of time they were there. But one died of starvation because he absolutely refused to. What they were doing is they were taking strips off the bodies to eat. Yeah. Because that was the only food they had left after 7 days. And the one guy ate for a little bit. He refused and ate a little bit, and then refused and ate a little bit. And eventually he ended up dying of, and at the time of his death, he weighed 65 pounds.
Wow.
And they were only stranded for 70 days. So that should tell you how quickly a human or a primate can deteriorate without food. They had plenty of water because they had the snow there. So that could, there's your fresh water.
Right. Well, their bodies were also burning a lot more calories trying to keep them warm too.
Plus the elevation.
Yes.
And they, their breathing was a little more labored because they were at 14,000 feet at height.
Right.
So that will burn up calories as well.
Always carry a spare box of Twinkies with you whenever you travel.
I can see that, man. Sir, we need to pull you over for secondary inspection as you get out of the plane. What do you got strapped to your leg there? Oh, it's my Twinkie stash.
Twinkies. If we crash, man, I'm not eating nobody. I'm eating Twinkies.
Yeah. He falls down. It looks like he pops like a zit. All the cream everywhere.
Oh, gross. But they had to do what they had to do.
Right.
But
right.
In most areas of the wilderness, I'm not talking about in the Andes above the snow line or above the tree line, but in most areas there is food plenty, and even for a human could survive. Like if you want to eat these mushrooms and these the funguses that grow on like the hen's nest and stuff, that's common here in Kentucky.
I'm surprised they didn't find any Andes candies.
Yeah. But in the Kentucky,
sorry, Patty's over there going, I'm trying to eat here.
But the mushroom season begins in early spring in Kentucky, and those are the fresh, like the morels and stuff that grow fresh. But there's some funguses that grow on tree stumps and down trees and stuff that are here year round. And you can just walk up and grab one if you know what to get.
Right.
And, you would think that if they're from the wilderness, they know what they can eat and what they can't.
Thank you, Mick. Have a great day. We'll catch you on the flip side, sir.
Mick, appreciate you, buddy.
And we also appreciate Patty. I'm sorry we didn't mean to upset your meal.
Hey, sorry, Patty.
That's okay. My wife was watching something really gross on YouTube when I came home, and I'm sitting there trying to eat myself. I'm like, what the hell are we watching?
Yeah.
Anyway, storing food. Now there is another one. Perhaps they gather food and put it in a common area. You know, they hide it. They burn it. They create their own cache of food.
Very possible. Right.
And that could also help them. Nobody ever thinks, well, I don't think there's enough food in the forest for a Bigfoot to survive. Well, maybe they cache their food. Did you ever think of that?
Yeah.
We as Homo sapiens did that always.
Yes.
That was one of our survival tactics. All of these survival tactics, by the way, are right in line with your aboriginal Homo sapiens to the country,
right,
to the continent. We did all these things.
Well, you would think that caching food would be rather easy, especially if they're in areas that have lots of nut trees, lots of hardwood trees. They're going to have
trees,
apples, yes, fruit trees. Of course, the fruit wouldn't not keep as long as nuts would, but then again, you know, remember the chimpanzees? They loved the rotting fruit more than they did the fresh fruit
because they ferment.
Yes, they got a buzz.
Nothing like having a shit ton of apples that are fermented in a cave, and all you have to do is, you know, just keep feeding on those, and it makes you a little slow, a little tired. You can take your nap. So there's your built-in hibernation there.
Well, you know, and if you're storing stuff in a cave, you got 54 degrees Fahrenheit, 12 degrees Celsius.
Right.
You know, that's a very stable temperature for storing something.
Correct. Yep.
Humans, well, you mean early American people around here, every house, every one of the older homes had a root cellar dug.
Sure.
And it wasn't for, you know, well, you could argue, well, it's a storm cellar, but no, it was for storing their food, their canned goods, their potatoes, the onions, all that stuff that needs to be temperature maintained.
And isn't it a coincidence? And maybe it's just the natural. Ever wonder about the natural order of things? And some people will call it maybe divinity, you know, if you know you're a religious person. But why do all the plants bear fruit just before the autumn?
Right.
You know, that's when you have your apple crop. That's when you have your corn crop. That's when you have all these, you know, pumpkins and melons come up. Is this time of year? It's almost like, hey, here we are. Start stocking up for the winter.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's just part of that symbiotic relationship, I think, that we as living beings of the world have with the planet Earth. Yeah. So there is some Native American religious comparisons to that almost. So, you know, one must think of that.
The food storage thing would be a survivalist tactic. And, you know, you would think that they had learned how to do this. Right. Because if you would call them a society, which again, that's we're getting closer to human terms now, but that would be hunter-gatherer.
Yep.
And like a nomadic hunter-gatherer
right.
type of culture there. But you know, I hate to say that. I don't.
I've always said though that, you know, the chimp has the 98.6 of our DNA. I think Bigfoot is even closer, right?
I believe.
Or if they're not, at the very least, they are parallel a bit to us a little bit, not completely, you know, because they may have sprung off the Ardipithecines. Or they may have sprung out of the Paranthropus, because Paranthropus just disappeared, right? But imagine if Paranthropus was to continue to evolve over the years. Right. Could that be a Bigfoot? I think it's a good possibility. You know, if you subscribe to the Gigantopithecus idea, or perhaps the Homo habilis idea, then you're talking more of the Ardipithecines. But the Ardipithecines, their foremost thing closest to us is the chimpanzee, the pan troglodyte. So don't know. Very interesting to speculate, but I really think that that's a whole nother discussion that we've had before, and I'm sure at some point in time we'll have again. But I think caching food is another way that they survive.
Yes.
Travel to milder climates. Bigfoot might migrate to areas with less severe winters, such as lower elevations or more temperate regions, to find food and shelter more easily. Now, that may be a little easier, say, in the southern end of Pennsylvania, where they could walk 30 miles, 40 miles, and be into milder climate. Milder climate of West Virginia, the milder climate of Maryland, the milder climate of Kentucky, the mild, etc. That's not unheard of. I don't think they migrate like birds. So people think migrating, they automatically assign that to like birds. No, they don't travel south for the winter. Yeah. But what they do is they move to areas that are quick to get to, easy to get to, unobserved, unseen. And of course, I'm sure they had to adapt in the last couple of 100 years with the population growth of the United States with Homo sapiens.
Right.
Yeah. So I don't think they travel that far, but they do go to milder zones or zones where there may be more opportunity for food and growth. For example, and I always use this example, is the apparent migration effect we see from the Adirondack Mountains to the Green Mountains of Vermont, during the fall and winter, and, Whitehall being in the crosshairs of that makes it kind of ground zero. And that's why we have a lot of sightings, is because it's the natural corridor of things between the two ranges. There may be other examples of that. I'm not familiar with that because I haven't studied it as much. Right. So you have that there.
That's one of the things I do believe credible. I believe they follow the food, and they also follow the cover. Right. There's two things they need food,
and they need cover.
Cover, yeah.
And there's a good point. I think so welcome Corncob Say.
Corncob.
Welcome. But who made the comment there? Somebody had made a comment about Dave Parker made a comment saying they're here in Missouri year round. Well, Missouri is a more temperate climate.
Yeah.
Right. As would be Oklahoma, Texas.
Oh, Danny brings up bone marrow. Yeah.
Yep. But we wouldn't expect to see a migration in temperate climates or climates that don't have an extreme shift in weather patterns. If they're used to the heat of Texas, that's fine. They can survive. They may, and that's why most of the Bigfoot sightings in Texas are along the east into the north, where there is more forested areas in Texas, not to the west in the desert parts. Just like you go to New Mexico and Arizona, the sightings are more prevalent in the mountain ranges, such as the Chuscas, the Ouachita Mountains, the Lucatugai Mountains, where there is green and animals and growth. Now, the big difference is that they get snow in the Lucatugais because it's 9,000 feet in the air. So and next thing you know, you have these raids in September, along with in lower Fruitland, New Mexico, which is a big corn country there. So that was another area I was studying, way back in the J.C. Johnson days, back in the 2010s. And, I would always hear stories and talk to him about what was going on there before his unfortunate passing. And, again, the travel to milder climate is when there is a need for that. Some of the Plains Indians traveled to different areas because of the wintertime and the food source. So,
well, see, that was one of the theories that I'd had before, that I had held, that it was a belief that they did some sort of migration, because, and at the old home place, okay, we would experience activities early spring, late fall. That's when we would get the, something coming through and then screaming in at 2 a.m. We would find tracks, or the apple trees would be missing half the tree. The fruit would be gone from one side, completely gone. We would experience weird stuff like that. And I kind of attributed that to the migration theory. But, I don't know if it was a migration or just more or less they were just going to where the food was.
Right. And Don says around there, Don Gumow says around here, I record them year round. That's in Maine. Then again, in Maine, there ain't much of an escape route, is there? But then again, Maine has a lot of fir trees, deciduous fir.
Oh, Katie.
And yeah, I was going to put that up there too.
Yeah. Thank you,
Patty. Thank you.
Thank you.
Let's go to some of these starred comments. Corncob said they could follow railroad tracks and make a migration. Not only could they follow railroad tracks, they could also follow power line cuts, fire breaks, et cetera, et cetera. And those have always been what I feel are the Bigfoot highways. You want a Bigfoot to get out of an area fast, travels down those corridors at nighttime, unseen, unheard, gone. So that's huge. Danny says they come down to lower elevations here. Absolutely, they could. Yep. If there's a lot of snow at higher elevations, it makes sense for them to move down to the lower. Bristol says snowbird humans are bad enough. We don't need snowbird Bigfoots. That'd be too much. And again, thank you, Patty, for gifting those memberships. We appreciate that.
Too kind. You're too kind.
Too kind, really.
Yeah, snowbird Bigfoot.
Snowbird Bigfoot shows up with Bermuda shorts and a Hawaiian shirt and sunglasses.
Well, I like
one of those cheap fishing hats with all the lures, around them.
I don't really care for wintertime myself. I like the summertime temperatures and stuff, because in the wintertime, in Kentucky, we have a really humid climate. And when you talk a lot of humidity and cold temperatures, it's really not good if you have arthritis or arthritic conditions. There's a lot of aching and
funny thing, as a New Yorker, I'm just so friggin' used to it. I'm a New Yorker. I just deal with it. We in the upstate New York area have a defense to the weather during the wintertime. We complain about it.
Yeah.
That's our defense.
Well, but if you go out west, especially in the wintertime, it's a lot different because the climate is so much drier out there. There's not
not now. They're getting a cyclone bomb.
Well, California, I didn't really count. But if you go into the desert, for example, the desert Southwest, okay, I lived out there in New Mexico for several years. And we had an average of like 20% humidity. And although it never got really cold there, there was no aches and pains. Of course, I was a lot younger back then. But we had went, several years ago, went out to view the Grand Canyon and look over in the hole. And while the trip was extremely painful for me, the parts about aching from the arthritic joints aching went away. That there was none of that. It was just due to the travel problems. But I really enjoy the weather out there. I would think Bigfoot would be the same.
Well, there's a big snowbird population in Arizona as well.
Yeah.
I know. I sat in a diner in Arizona once, and I was surrounded by a gaggle of people, and all they were talking about was their medications.
Old people.
Hey, no, I'm on this stuff called Cialis. I got it stuck in my throat and I had a stiff neck for a week. Anyway.
One of the guys from Gold Rush has got a place in Arizona that he goes to in the wintertime.
So he was one of them.
Yeah, during the summer months.
Yeah, I take this silver colloid solution.
During the summer months, yeah, he works in Alaska mining gold, and then in the winter months, he goes to Arizona, and that's Tony something. I can't remember. I'm sorry.
There's Gary. Hello, Gary. Good to see you, brother.
Very welcome. But yeah, he spends his winters in Arizona, which is much milder than Alaska. Can you imagine? I had a buddy that was stationed up at Fairbanks, and he told me he went there for a temporary duty assignment. He came back and he told me, he said, Chris, I said, how cold was it, buddy? He said, Chris, he said, I'm telling you the honest truth. He said, you could spit and it would freeze before it hit the ground. Yep. And he said they would take like cups of water and throw it up in the air, and it was just like,
look like snow. Yeah.
Instant snow. Yeah.
Piecicles.
Amazing. That's too cold for me.
And never trust the yellow snow.
No, definitely. It's not lemon flavored.
No, absolutely not. And the brown snow is not chocolate flavored either. Just a little hint here from the Squatch Detective. All right.
Danny got him a new car. Cool.
Good for you, Danny. Finally traded in that 78 Pinto, huh?
Yeah.
Anybody remember the Pinto? That was the car that was pulled out of circulation because it kept blowing up in rear end accidents.
Yes. I remember the Pintos, and I had some buddies that had Pintos. I used to drive a Vega. I love the Chevy Vega.
But the ugliest car ever was the AMC Pacer.
I saw some of those around here.
Yeah. And the AMC Gremlin didn't look much better, but the Pacer was far uglier. It looked like a bubble car.
Well, they got their own following. Some people, if you like it, you like it. Okay.
Oh, and remember the Yugo?
Yeah. Yes. Had a buddy, got a brand new one of those things. Sure did.
We had a guy at the ambulance years ago when I was a paramedic at the ambulance company get one, and he parked it, and he went out on a call, and 8 of us went out into the parking lot, and we moved it over one parking spot by lifting it up.
Dude, when those came out, I was living in New Mexico. It was like $39.90. You could get a brand new car for less than $4,000. Well, okay, by the time they added tax and stuff on there, yeah, you're going to be over $4,000. But still, for around $4,000, you got a brand new car.
Patty said she had a Pinto, but it was a horse. Well, that's interesting because I bought a steak at a discount steak restaurant, and I believed it was horse too because I could still see the marks where the jockey was in it. Anyway.
Oh no. Okay, we got.
All right, next.
Let's move on. We're talking about cars now. Let's go.
Point 5. So point 5 is they rely on hair and body adaptations, and Dr. Meldrum had talked about the feet being perhaps having extra padding, and other animals that have similar padding to avoid that. Yes. So there's one example of a good body adaptation, but Bigfoot may have a thick insulated hair and a robust physiology to withstand cold temperatures. That's true. We don't know what their physiology is either as well. I mean, they could have very high metabolism. They could have a very low metabolism. Who knows? One would think that they would probably have a lower metabolism than that of a Homo sapien, just for the mere fact because they're so large. That would help them conserve energy and for when they need it. But anyway, on these factors, this could allow it to remain active and forage even in snowy and freezing conditions, much like other large mammals. Yeah. And that's very true. If there are some generic mammalian properties is usually the larger of the animals have these such adaptations for metabolism and such, so they can continue to hunt, they can continue to predate. Now, the bears, of course, are the exception, but they have a whole unique metabolism system. And I know somebody was, Corn Cobb was talking about Ursa arctis, the old polar bear, saying they don't hibernate, but they do enter a state of light hibernation. Very true. Ursa americanus, our black bear friends, they tend to
they'll go in a cave or dig a hole.
And Don makes a great muscle carries more blood vessels to stay warm. And you combine that with a thick hair, such as they have, and people wonder, well, why does a Bigfoot have thick hair? Well, part of that is that evolutionary. If you think about everything about a Bigfoot, its evolution is amazing. You know, we see the percentage of sightings that occur at night are greater than ones in daytime, and they have eye shine, which would indicate it's a pedum lucidum. Well, that is a genetic adaptation for nocturnal animals.
Yes.
And it also might be what they call an evening dweller, and the actual term of that escapes me at the moment. But diurnal would be a daytime animal. That's us. We are active during the day. At nighttime, we all get tired. We go to sleep. And a lot of people, even those who have worked night shifts, have a lot of trouble sometimes sleeping during the daytime. Because we are diurnal by nature. Our circadian rhythms are built to being up during the daylight hours. We do not have a tapetum lucidum. Neither does a chimpanzee, a billy ape, bonobo, gorilla, nor orangutan. And guess what? Those two are all diurnal animals, with the exception of the billy ape. I'm sorry. The billy ape is more of an evening animal. They do a lot of predating in the evening. So there are some differences between the bonobos, billy apes, and chimpanzees, although they are very similar and look a lot alike. So
when we talk about their body adaptations to the cold, you would think that through genetic evolution, okay, the ones that lost fingers and stuff probably died off a long time ago. You know, with humans, when we get exposed to frostbite conditions, our body starts restricting blood flow to our outermost extremities.
That's right.
Don't do that at all.
I did have it right. It's crepuscular, believe it or not. Yep, crepuscular. I'm sorry, crepuscular. That is a dusk to dawn dweller. Right. So they may not. So in actuality, I believe that. So I'm going to change that. That a Sasquatch may not be nocturnal, but it's crepuscular, meaning it ranges from the evening dusk till dawn, because they become, like I said, I've always had that term Squatch 30.
Right. Well, I believe their eyes are larger, and I think they're more adapted to seeing at night. Right.
So
low conditions.
Lawnmowers keep us up. Why do we really need to mow once a week? Well, I once a week is fair. Unfortunately, I get a neighbor that'll mow every 3 days because he's got nothing better to do. I'll hear that lawnmower on Monday, I'll hear it on Wednesday, and I'll hear it on Friday night during the day.
Well, Andy pretty much takes care of mowing the yard here now. I don't have to do that. But before, I was really seriously considering some of these robot lawnmowers. I think that would be cool.
Yep.
Go out there and mow your yard for you.
Right.
When the price comes down.
We need to find some robot squatchers. Go out and find a squatch, just send it out there without us.
That would be handy, yes.
But
put a solar panel on it, let it automatically recharge. Just stay out there in the woods until you find one.
Have a little trail camera built in its chest, a little DNA kit in one hand, flashlight in the other.
Or a Tesla robot, or heck, maybe we can get one of those Terminator, T101.
Hey, hang on a second. I need to make an announcement. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Jay Fritz.
Jay, welcome. It's good to see you.
Welcome, Jay.
But, that would be cool.
Now, see, here's the interesting thing. In New York State, you cannot fly a drone in a state park.
Wow.
Because the volatility of the lithium batteries that are in them. Now, a lot of people will say, well, geez, DJI makes some beautiful drones and these people make beautiful drones and they never. Yeah, I don't think it's those drones they're worried about. They're worried about those cheap Japanese $125 drones that come over here. And I think they're worried about those lithium batteries more than anything else going kaboom. And anytime you're dealing with a lithium battery in a crash, there is the potential for a fire. And that's the main reason why they don't allow drones necessarily in parks. There are some state parks that allow them, but you have to be in visual distance of them.
Well, I'm good at crashing drones. I've learned how to do that very well.
Well, the problem is there, Grass, is that you have your phone with you. If it starts a fire, the fire's next to you. What they're worried about is you fly your drone out over, 700 yards, a mile, and it drops. By the time you get to that, you end up, there's a fire going. There's a good size fire going. So that's, I guess, the reason why. But
look what Jay has done.
I saw that. Thank you, Jay. Appreciate it, brother.
Wow, you're too kind, man. Appreciate it.
So that's 15 new members to the members. And again, members, if you want to support good Bigfoot research, hang in there and stay with us. So, and I know I've been saying I'm going to put some new content. There will be new content. Now we're just like shifting into our work mode now. So now I have a little better, easier rhythms now that I've got things figured out. I was talking to Chris today about that I'm actually doing very well. And, it's a full-time job, but it's really not full-time hours because I'm pretty good at what I'm doing. So I'm usually done, 5.5 hours into the,
grasshopper.
Hold on. I'll give him my answer to that. What are the stats for drones catching fire while flying? Don't know. It's not my rule. I'm just giving you the reason why they said it.
Grasshopper, you have given me a new idea.
I don't think they catch fire while they're flying. I think they catch fire while they're crashing. And
Grasshopper has given me a new YouTube search idea. Drone catches fire while flying. I want to search that.
Or while crashing. How about that? All right. Well, let's put it to the test. How many drones in the U.S. caught fire after crashing?
Well, sure, crashing, but I would like to see the ones on fire flying. That would be cool. Crash and burn.
Okay. So the number of drones in the U.S. that caught fire after crashing isn't consistently tracked across the industry, but there have been some notable incidents involving drone fires. For example, an Amazon Prime delivery drone caught fire in a field in Oregon after a test flight crash. There it is, sparking a blaze that burned several acres of wheat stubble. In another incident near Flagstaff, Arizona, when a drone ignited a tall grass resulting in a fire. The drone's lithium polymer battery was suspected to be the source of the heat that started the blaze. So,
well, I like the lithium ion and the lithium iron phosphate batteries. That's kind of a hobby of mine. But they will catch fire. They're amazing, but they hold a lot of juice. But they'll catch fire on you if you're not careful.
So, hey, Gary says, actually need to see you out there in the field showing what you investigate, Mr. Kulls. Apparently, you haven't seen all our videos here on this channel, have you? You haven't seen the Monster Quest. You haven't seen the Truth Behind the Loch Ness Monster. You haven't seen America's Book of Secrets. You haven't seen Monsters and Mysteries Unsolved. You haven't seen me on Small Town Monsters, not once, not twice, but 3 times now.
Yeah, this is
soon
the
to
new
be
one.
soon to be a 4th.
What's the new one that they just put out, Steve? The Small Town Monsters, Adirondack or something?
Hang on,
No, Appalachian Bigfoot or something.
Patty, thank you. You did not have to do that.
Wow! Oh my God, I cannot believe you guys.
Patty,
Thank
again.
you so much.
Thank you. You know, and we appreciate that, you know, because there are so many, like, and we appreciate the reason why we appreciate it is because the cost of the StreamYard platform went up by 80% back in October. So that was like a kick right in the.
This is just that's become the habit of Bigfoot research and podcasting. Once you get to the point where everything is starting to pay for itself, then they raise the prices.
Right.
They always got it. They're trying to keep the man down, Steve. That's what I believe it is. They're trying to keep the man down. But we have wonderful viewers and listeners like Patty comes in there. Thank you so much. Lindsay, you are a heck of a person. Thank you so much.
Thank you again.
Oh. And all these memberships you guys are gifting. Thank you so much. If you guys are listening on the podcast now, this is one reason you need to get over to YouTube/Squatchdetective, SquatchDTV.com and check it out.
No. YouTube.com/SquatchDTV.
That's right. My bad.
At SquatchDTV.
Yeah. Come in. You might get a free membership. It's just incredible. We have the greatest audience out of any we could ever hope to have. And we thank you so much. We appreciate you so much.
Yeah. Where once every few months, Steve makes himself look like an idiot on the membership file. By the way, there may or may not be another funny video coming out within the next couple of days.
Okay. A little foreshadowing there.
Yes. And again, the shorts is for our funny, not off-topic stuff now. I've decided that's where that's going to go. And I'm going to not do shorts for Bigfoot stuff anymore. I'm going to just do that for funny stuff because that tends to go a little more viral than other stuff. So,
right. Oh, so we're up to the 5th. We've covered the 5 things. That's interesting.
Yeah, I know we can't shoot for a second hour tonight.
Yeah.
Because we are not tonight. I'm still a little beat. You know, we will do that very shortly. We'll play a little game, and Patty's vote will count for that one. We'll count 1 for Patty automatically the next time we do that.
Amen. Yeah.
But yeah, it's like I said, I appreciate everybody's understanding trying to sink into this new kind of career path because my because of my injury that I had gotten back in March. But you know what? Here's the cool thing.
Good. It's working now.
Yeah, it's working now. So pretty soon it'll be back to the gym. And
Grasshopper. Speak truth.
Speak truth.
I love that.
Bristol says you forgot number 6. They just pop back through the portal to warmer climates. or number 7, the flying saucer comes and picks them all up for the winter.
Yes, that would be a good one.
That's another reason why Sasquatch are not extraterrestrial. Damn it. Who the hell want to be on this planet in the winter area?
Well,
they didn't have to be.
Well, our good friend that passed away would probably say that they turn invisible and they go into the big cities in the wintertime and they just live in your apartment.
Keep wondering why all the bananas keep going missing. I don't understand.
They turn invisible when they go into the big cities, and that way they can just walk right into your apartment building, and that spare bedroom they're probably using it. or they may live in closets. That may be why kids hear noises in closets at night. The invisible Bigfoot's in there.
So yeah, if you want to see some quick examples of my research, please take a look on this channel, Gary. There is plenty of videos of me out in the field. There's one when I did a Central Adirondack trip. And I'm showing people what Bigfoot tracks are and aren't. And
yes, Jen. Go invisible, go in Walmart, get themselves a thermal winter coat.
Walmart janitor comes out. Who keeps plugging up the bathroom at number 4 stall? You know, you come in there. What the hell? What the hell? Something took a dump and that big old toilet's got it plugged up for a block.
Under beds. They could be sleeping under your bed. Yes. Eric Beckford.
Mike Wazowski. Yeah. And what's the other one? The one John Goodman played in Monsters, Inc.
Oh, gosh. I can't remember.
Billy Crystal played Mike Wazowski, the one-eyed guy. And
it's been so long.
Sully,
yes.
Sully. Yeah, Sully in the closet. That's Jen says they wouldn't even be noticed in Walmart.
That's true. That's true.
Hang on. That's got me on one thought before we go here. Hang
on. I'm pouring myself a drink here. I hope it's not coming in too loud over the microphone.
Oh, you're gonna enjoy this one, guys. You're gonna enjoy this one. You're gonna enjoy this one. So, walking through the Walmart in Bowling Green, Kentucky.
Oh, you're gonna see a picture of me in there, probably. I've been to that one.
There you go.
Oh yeah, that's probably me back when I had hair. I don't know.
Now that is some disturbing stuff.
Well, you know, I give him points for wearing the overalls there. That's better.
They look new. They look new.
Oh man.
But yeah. So Gary, if I'm out there on my own, I don't have time to videotape myself.
Yeah.
You know, that's your grasshopper goes, Oshkosh never warned so good. So now we gave a little bit of food for thought for all our audio listeners over there to come on to the channel and see what cannot be unseen at the Walmart.
Yes. We watched it, so you have to.
That's right. We all saw it. Now you have to take your bump and come over and look at the picture at the end of the show.
Oh, man.
So, well, Chris, that's it for the show tonight. Why don't you take us?
Okay. I want to thank everybody for joining us tonight. We appreciate our audience. Thank you so much for all the super chats, the memberships. You guys are just too much. We appreciate it. We know we've got the greatest audience we could ever hope to have. And my goodness, we're so grateful to you guys. And we're humbled that you would choose to spend your Friday night hanging out with us. And Sundays. We appreciate you guys. If it's your first time listening, watching, get over to the YouTube channel, hit the like button, smash that thumbs up, give us a subscribe. It doesn't cost anything to subscribe, and it helps the algorithm with the channel.
Yes. On your way out, folks, we appreciate you hitting that thumbs up.
Yeah.
And if you really are down with the show, share it. Share it and say, hey, check out this great podcast on Bigfoot. Why not? If you like it so much, come on, share it with your friends. Get them involved too. Get them, all your Bigfoot believing friends. And hey, this is the show that puts the truth out there, not some, fly-by crap or anything like that, where we're trying to tell the truth here. When we come up with a story, when we have an encounter, it's usually been vetted, or it's something that we've looked at very closely and deemed it to be credible. Not necessarily the truth, but at least credible. So that is really important to us. And again, we're gonna have some guests on too eventually down the road as well. We don't do guests as much that often because that's what everybody else is doing. Every show out there is, okay, this week's guest, that week's guest. And we, a few months ago, got to that point where we're going, well, we're going to have guests sporadically. I don't want to have guests on too many times because everybody else is doing that. We want to do something different, and that's educating and analyzing and having fun and making this a great topic to talk about in a very accepting way and not judgmental. So, anyway, I want to thank everybody for being out here tonight on our Friday night show. We will be back Sunday night for our full 2 hours right here on squatchdtv.com, youtube.com/@squatchdtv. And we will see everybody Sunday night, 9 p.m. Eastern. Love you all, guys.
We thank you for being here with us on Squatch-D TV. If you haven't taken the time yet, please hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. And oh yes, hit that notification bell too. We don't want you to miss anything. If you really like our content, you should consider becoming a member. And it's really inexpensive and a great way to support not only the show, but honest Bigfoot research. Everyone have a great week. Be safe and God bless. We will see you all here next time on Squatch-D TV. Keep on squatching.